What's going on, everybody? Welcome to this week's episode of the Sports Scramble podcast. First live episode brought to you by Old City Sports Network. And yeah, we're live. We're trying out something new this Sunday evening. I've got myself, and I'm joined with Tyler, Wade, and Jacob. How are y'all doing tonight?
Pretty good.
I don't know. I'm questionable about my fantasy draft. Maybe some of our Twitter followers will leave some comments about how I did. I know some of them might be watching in this new format.
Well,
So-
speaking of Twitter, I've been blasting people on Twitter the last 2 days, so
So you might have driven up some rivals for us.
Yeah, a little bit.
There you go. There you go. We can't leave any stone unturned. Wade, so what are you unhappy about with your fantasy draft? I mean, it's fantasy football season. We'll just go ahead and jump right into it.
Well, I typically go running back. Occasionally I'll go running back, wide receiver, but it's been a long time, probably since like the AJ Green days, that I went a wide receiver first. And not only did I go wide receiver first, I passed up on Justin Jefferson and Cooper Kupp to snag Jamar Chase because I truly think he will be wide receiver one. Now,
Interesting choice there.
The intent was to stack him with Joe Burrow later on, and somebody foiled my plans. So ended up getting Kamara in the second round, got my tight end, Darren Waller, in like the 6th or 7th, and we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, Tyler and I actually just did. He helped me out with a fantasy draft I had from a work league. First round, somebody drafts Patrick Mahomes, then Josh Allen. I'm like, what is going on? What are these people doing? And then I realized it was a super flex league where you could have 2 quarterbacks starting. And I was like, oh, crap, here we go. And so I got Russell Wilson and Matt Ryan as my 2 quarterbacks.
Matt Ryan Renaissance, baby. Here he comes.
Yeah, it was either him or Jameis Winston. So, I mean, we had our choosing in like round 10.
I think Matt Ryan was probably the way to go.
Yeah.
Considering there'll probably be a lot of passing yards. But I don't know. It was a little iffy there for a second when I was like, what are these people doing? I thought they knew fantasy football. Who's taking quarterbacks around 1?
They're like, touche, it's you.
Yeah, I was like, oh, crap. I'm the idiot here. I need to get somebody. So, but I mean, we got Jamar Chase, Travis Etienne. I'm trying to remember the other running back that we picked up that I was happy with, Joe Mixon. So, and then I think we got Michael Pittman as well. So I think the wide receiver core is looking stacked. I went ahead and grabbed D-Hop there at the very last few rounds just to hold on to him until he comes off his suspension. But I know we've got our big draft coming up here in a few days. I hope y'all are ready. I don't think Tyler's going to help me out like he's been helping me out in the past.
My help is done.
He's coming for today. Blood. Yeah. So I know, Tyler, you just wrapped up a draft. How did that go?
I did. I actually had the number 2 overall pick, so it's about time that in the 2020 season that I have an early round pick. CMC actually went first, so I went ahead and scooped up Jonathan Taylor. So I went RB, went Jonathan Taylor and Saquon Barkley. So then I got like Mike Evans and Mike Williams as my 2 receivers. And Justin
sounds
Herbert.
Familiar.
Yeah.
I have them.
Yeah, the 2 Mikes. So, and I have Justin Herbert starting quarterback. So I'm definitely pleased with how the draft just went.
Futch, have you spent any time drafting on forklifts lately, or are you just rocking and rolling, waiting for Tuesday?
I'm waiting for Tuesday. Tyler and I kind of experimented a little bit here and there, but did a couple of mock drafts. But I haven't done too much. It's kind of spur of the moment with me when it comes to drafts. I just kind of whatever's there. I roll. Yeah, whatever I'm feeling in the moment.
There you go. Well, we're going to jump into Tyler's Fantasy Football Corner later in the show, so make sure you stay tuned for that. But wanted to say our little fantasy football recap from our drafts are brought to you by a new sponsor that we have. Futch, do you like beef jerky? Are you a beef jerky guy?
Dude, I am a beef jerky guy all day long.
That's what I like to hear, because if you would have said no, then this would have been a really awkward sponsor read. But we have a new sponsorship. Righteous Felon Jerky. You can head on over to righteousfelon.com. Use code OCSN for 15% off your beef jerky. I'm hearing you get next day delivery with these guys, and they've got a lot of different cool flavors, like the bag of bourbon Franklin. Interesting flavor there. And some hickory beef jerky. And I hear the Maryland Monroe, but spelled like the state of Maryland, is pretty good. So and also the truffle O'Bill beef jerky. So our followers will have to check that out, use our promo code, and let us know what they think. But the fantasy drafts aside, we had our very own Wade play in a golf tournament last weekend up in South Carolina, holding it down, putting the name out there. We got a bunch of followers from it. He must have been promoted it left and right. We're going to have to send you some stickers to start putting on golf carts. How'd you fare in your little golf tournament you had last weekend, Wade?
It was a fun time. I had a great time just kind of getting back on my high school golf course. Now, one funny caveat to the weekend was they actually switched the front 9 and the back 9 holes on me. So the front 9 became the back 9 and the back 9 became the front 9. It was a shotgun start. So we were told we were starting as 18A. So I immediately started driving the golf cart towards what I thought was the 18th tee box, and then ended up having to go clear on the other side of the golf course to what now I know is hole number 1. Anyway, so kind of got off to a rocky start there, but it was all fun and games. Really ripped the driver consistently all afternoon, so that was good. Played the par 3s well, but just kind of had some unfortunate iron shots, a couple putts lip out. All in all, not a bad day. Shot a 92, which is in my wheelhouse, under 95. And yeah, we were kind of, I don't know, maybe bottom half of the pack, but near like the midway mark. So not a bad day.
So did anybody shoot a hole in one in the tournament, or shoot a hole in one? A lot of people usually like to claim they did.
No claimed hole in ones. There were a few guys that played collegiate golf, so they were the ringers of the group. And then I would say there was probably a lot more people that shot above a 92 than the scorecard indicated, but that's okay. I mean, it's frat golf, so I'll take my 92.
It's all fun and games. I broke down and went and got a golf lesson after, my embarrassment of the drivers on the whack YouTube video, shanking two of them into the woods. Couldn't have it anymore. So I went and got a golf lesson out there at the Longwood Golf Course where we played our whack. He told me a few things, and when I went and played on Friday, I was ripping drivers. So I was happy with it. I'm ready to showcase it to y'all when you come back to Houston. We have the whack part 2. Maybe maybe me and Wade will be able to take you and Tyler and Jacob down.
No, you got to come over here now. This is
we got to come to the game. Okay, y'all get the home game. Well,
Gulf Coast golf.
You can pick the course, and we'll come out and we'll have a little showdown. So, but yeah, no, I had the pleasure of going to play out at the Black Horse Golf Club. Probably one of the nicer golf courses in Houston. I've got their hat on right now, so you can't really see it. It's a cool little logo with the little Mustang. Actually, the good old Barstool Sports Foreplay Pod, they did a video there, so that was cool. I got to watch some of it, pregame the course and figure out where to shoot and where not to. I played pretty well. The putting let me down, just like Scotty today. Putting's what wins you. So, but I mean, yeah, mentioning Scotty, he had that big lead for the majority of the weekend, and I know Tyler didn't watch the Tour Championship. He was watching the Little League World Series, but Roy McIlroy came back from 6 shots down to overtake Scotty's big stroke lead and ended up winning his 3rd FedEx Cup Tour championship. First player to ever do that. What's your thoughts on that, Futch? You think was Rory's time to shine?
Yes and no. I don't know. It's been kind of an all-around year for Rory. I mean, it's good that he capped the year off with a big win. I mean, I know everybody was looking forward to him at St. Andrews, kind of run the show there, and the crowd was chanting his name for 4 days in a row. I don't know. I think it's probably good for him, for his momentum to start the season next season. As far as Scotty goes, hot start to the year, just kind of fell off. I mean, he just kind of faded off a little bit. I mean, the reason he started is because of where he was in the FedEx Cup standings, and a result of the Masters and everything else. But I think that I think they need to reconfigure the FedEx Cup points and how they're divvied up, because yeah, I get some events are worth a little bit more FedEx Cup points, but you can't tell me that a guy gets one win. Like, I mean, we saw Jordan Spieth get one win, and climb up 10, 12 places into the top 10, and really didn't do much of anything this week. So I mean, it was kind of one of those things where guys get one win and get hot for 4 days, 5 days, and all of a sudden they're in the top 25, finishing out the rest of the year, on that last day. So I just think they need to probably go back to the drawing board and see what needs to be done for next year, knowing that they're going to have a lot more events next year as well.
Well, one thing that I saw that was pretty interesting. Some people were posing like you got your stroke play. I don't like how it's like 10 shots ahead. I mean, I feel like, we saw today, the guy that was in first didn't finish first, but I mean, Scotty led for the majority of the weekend. He didn't play that great of golf. I mean, he shot 3 over today and only lost by a stroke. But maybe if they figure out a way to minimize the amount of strokes you start ahead. But what I'd like to see is like do stroke play up until Saturday, and then it's a match play between the top 4 guys, and just have them play match play.
Like a WGC type thing.
Right, exactly. And kind of incorporate that, because then it's, you saw today, Rory surged to the top from 6 shots back. Sungjae M was finished top T second. I mean, he just had a great back 9.
Good year.
Really great year for him. I think Xander Schauffele, he was in there the entire tournament and then just didn't play great today and dropped back to, I think, tied 4th with Patrick Cantlay, if I remember correctly. But it would be interesting to see, like, take the top 4 guys and then have them play a match play, which it would be hard if you got a bunch of people tied there up at the top. But I guess you'd have to do a playoff for match play. And it would lead into a very long golf tournament. But it's for the Tour Championship. Wade's going to argue with me. He thinks Augusta is the Super Bowl, but I think it's the Super Bowl of golf because it's the final tournament. The winner wins $18 million. So I think Rory ended up bringing home $27 million this year in golf winnings. So not a bad year for Mr. McIlroy over there. And then on top of everything, he's like leading the charge for the PGA Tour against LIV. He had just announced his new golf league with Tiger. He's been he's been the poster child for the PGA Tour. So, what are y'all's thoughts on, like, is he the perfect person to win? I wanted to see Scotty win because he was like the newcomer. He's been playing great this year, but Rory winning his 3rd one, first player to do that. I feel like Jay Monahan has got to be through the roof ecstatic that his guy Rory won. I think the only other person that would have been better is if Tiger would have somehow been in it and won the thing. That would have been like probably the biggest headlines. But I think for the battle against LIV, Rory winning it's got to be the best thing. Tyler, I know you're not a huge LIV fan, so do you think this puts the nail in the coffin with Rory finally coming out on top?
Oh yeah, definitely. Not in the nail in the coffin for the LIV. The LIV will never go away as much as I want them to. But they got all the money in the world, so yeah, I think other than Tiger, I think that Rory is definitely the perfect guy for the PGA Tour to win this. So you got to be happy for him. I wanted him to win the Open just because of the home fans wanted him to win that experience, but I know that he felt a lot of pressure. So for him to come back today down 6 strokes was definitely a good sign for Rory to end the year.
Yeah, no, it's a huge surge. Wade, do you think you could drive the ball like Rory? Was that how you were hitting it out there in South Carolina? I think on hole 18, with one shot up, needs to play a perfect hole. He ends up driving at like 346 yards. It's just something insane.
Maybe 246. I don't think I'm hitting 346. But no,
it's get you in the gym, Wade.
Maybe
get you out there with some PEDs. Get you rolling.
I don't know, with some good rolling stuff. Chet's seen me drive the green once, and Tyler has as well. So it's possible. Jacob kind of intimidated me, I guess. I couldn't hit one in Texas for him. But no, it's good for the future of PGA, for Rory to be so, solidified in his views that the tour is for him, and for him to back that up and to be the face of the game. I think that maybe 5 years ago, everybody thought he would be the face of the game, and maybe he never got a firm grasp on that, but maybe now he really is. And whether it's because people are leaving or he's playing the best golf of his life, or a combination of the two, it doesn't really matter. It gives the PGA a product to put out there that people want to watch.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they might have to sell another PJ 2K23 with Rory's face on the cover.
Ooh,
Kind of have a
no.
Tiger and Rory.
Mm-mm.
Little like back-to-back action since they're leading.
No, you got to keep
Charizard.
Tiger on there. I do love that they're like you get to play with Michael Jordan on there and some of the guys. I know that Will Zalatoris
I
is
didn't
on
see
there.
that.
Yeah, you get to see play with Michael Jordan. So that'll be a cool feature. I think that 2K really does it well with the golf. I like Divot Derby. I like all the, cool, fun, like all the community. You can pretty much play whatever the community puts out there.
Speaking of that community, me and you tried to play the little tournament they had this week.
Oh, yeah.
So if you finish top 50 in the PGA 2K21 Tour Society, you win a free cover of the new game, or a free download of the new game of 2K23. So it's like, Tyler, let's give it a shot. I mean, we're pretty good at PGA Tour. Well, we thought we were good until we played these settings.
Yeah.
They had it on like all pro, super hard difficulty. The holes, in order to get par 4 to get a par, you had to shoot a 3. Like it was all like a 1-stroke handicap. And someone for the 4 rounds, it made you play 4 rounds. I quit after 3 because I was 98 over because it was so impossible to play this game. Someone was 100 under, which I don't even think is like theoretically possible.
Yeah,
I think they were probably
like
cheating.
38, like in an 18-hole round. Like I quit after the 3rd round too. I had shot like plus 120. I was like, you know what? Screw this. This is really an enjoyment. What am I getting out of this? Just misery. So I mean, I'm not going to finish in the top 50 to get a copy. So 2K, you're going to get $60 in October.
Yeah.
So you're welcome.
I think I finished like 674th.
Yeah.
So it wasn't that great. I mean, it was a little tough on us.
At that time.
Yeah, at that time. I don't know what it is.
600. Who knows what you are now?
Now we're probably like in the 2000s at least. I would have to bet.
I mean, I figured, I was like, the game's 2 years old. Why not give it a shot? See if you can finish top 50. Like, it can't be that hard. Boy, was I wrong. I mean, they had like the difficulty on insane. So, but I mean, I think you brought up playing with Michael Jordan. I think you get to play with like Shooter McGavin and Nate shots in the game. So like, it's going to be pretty cool. I want to see him bring like how in NBA 2K, how there's the neighborhood.
Yeah.
They should have like the country club, and you can like drive around in your golf cart and like do
That would be
tasks
cool.
around the world. That'd be pretty sweet.
Do you realize what the technology would have to be in order to come up with something like that though? Like that
They do it for the.
I think
for
they
the
have
NBA.
it. Like, they have it for the.
If
If you like play like the recent 2K, I mean, they did it like on that cruise ship, and I mean, 2K honestly is way better than EA Sports, and I'm sure a lot of like sports gamers can agree with that. EA Sports hasn't done jack since probably like EA like Madden 2016 probably.
Can you imagine if 2K was releasing a new college football game? You'd be going to class and be like, skip class.
Nope, NIL meetings.
NIL meetings.
NIL brands with Sonic.
Yeah,
there you go. Go take a photo shoot and then sign all these football helmets.
But like what you were saying, like with Tiger and Rory kind of being the face of the PGA Tour, but what you really have to think about is those are 2 completely different generations.
Yeah,
like that's the crazy part. They're so far apart, yet in the golf world they're viewed so close together, like they're buddies, and they like went through the whole thing together.
Like early 30s, isn't he? Yeah, and Tiger's like 45 or something. 46.
But Rory was supposed to take over as
Tom
the face
Brady
of the game
of golf.
Yeah.
Rory was kind of like Tom Brady and Andrew Luck almost. I mean, I know Luck's gone now, but look who's still playing.
Yeah,
right, exactly. Yeah, I mean, but I don't think. Go ahead.
What everybody doesn't understand too, also, like we're talking about this 2K game. It's like Rory's never going to be in a 2K game until he finishes his contract with EA. People don't understand. EA did release in 2021. They did release a golf game. It just wasn't popular at all, but it had Rory on the cover.
I remember seeing that on like the Microsoft Store, and I was like, "What is this?"
Yeah. So he's not going to be in that game until he finishes that contract with EA. So it's kind of the Tiger show with 2K. So.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't even think about that. You mentioned Will Zalatoris was in it. Well, hopefully he can make some money from it because he had a very expensive back injury this week. He dropped out of the championship with 2 herniated discs. That's rough. And it cost him an estimated $4.5 million because he was sitting in third place, and if he would have finished in third, he'd come home with $5 million. Well, he ends up finishing dead last and 30th, only taking home. Well, I say only taking home $500,000. But yeah, that's $4.5 million for some herniated disc, which I understand you can't play golf with a herniated disc.
Yeah.
But that's a hard pill to swallow, especially with him winning the first playoff event. And really, I mean, he would have been able to contend for the championship. So hopefully, he gets to feeling better. One thing I want to ask y'all, and I don't know if you touched on it last week. I wasn't on the show. I was traveling all around Western Texas. I didn't really have much internet to do a show, so that was another thing. But with the new golf league that Rory and Tiger announced, I did some research on it, and it looks like it's going to be in arenas, kind of like basketball stadiums, or probably a little bigger. Because you can't really play golf in a basketball stadium, but they're gonna hit a drive into like a simulator screen, like somewhat like Top Golf, and then they're gonna have like a putting green that's gonna be like simulated bunker shots, chip-ons, and everything like that, and they're gonna have fans around it. So, like, what are y'all's thoughts on that? Is that something you pay to go watch, or would you rather watch it at home, take it in as a fan experience? I mean, it's going to be like a 3v3 match, quick, like 2-hour golf game. But it's going to have fans involved, and it's really going to be like a putting contest at the end of it because you're hitting into a simulator. So, I mean, what are y'all's thoughts on that?
Maybe pay like $10 for it, but I wouldn't pay like going to a football game, pay like $150 to go watch something like that. I'd rather just watch it. Something like that on my TV. It's kind of like that fan control league that they try to do, and that was a bust. So hopefully, they do something well with this, because I mean, the game of golf, the perception we know is like this is the most boring sport ever. So maybe this is a step in the right direction to try and hinder that audience, to change their minds on that.
I think it's really going to be like live golf with the flashing lights and the cool logos and the graphics, and just try to like pull people in to tune into it. So
I don't know how I feel about it. I don't think I would pay to go see it. Because I think the tickets would be too expensive. Tyler, there's no way a ticket would be $10.
I'm just saying that's like what I
in
was
an
saying.
alternate universe.
Any more than that.
Yeah. So I mean, you're paying for arguably the 2 greatest people to watch in golf right now. So I think tickets are going to be triple digits at least. So I don't understand how it's going to work. Like, I get reading it and everything, but I still can't physically envision what they're trying to come up with, because you're going to have to play in a football stadium in order to do it. Like, there's no other, or a soccer stadium.
You can't go play in a basketball arena. I mean, even a football stadium is only 100 yards.
Yeah, like, hey, so, watch the Raptors.
Yeah, I mean, it's I'm sure they figured out how to do it, but they haven't released any information on it. So, but maybe that's something that our future PGA Pro Jacob can get his hands on and maybe get entered into one of these competitions. You better start working on your short game.
Hey, but listen, there's no excuse for wind, because it's
true.
Such a small environment.
They have those air conditionings blowing inside.
Yeah. Hey, aim in the crowd to the left. Aim in section 220, because the ball's going to come all the way back.
Well, yeah. I mean, it won't start till 2024, so I'm sure they'll have all the kinks ironed out. But we'll have to wait and see. Last little bit of golf news I want to touch on with the Live Tour. Some rumors coming out today, which I think all of us knew. Cam Smith. It's not guaranteed, but his name's brought up going to Live Tour, which we pretty much figured. Mito Pereira, which was a little shocking because he's a rookie on the tour. Harold Varner III, Mark Leishman, Cameron Tringali, and the one that I was the most shocked about would be Joaquin Niemann. I mean, he has just been on fire this year, really like up and coming. and I guess they're offering him some money, so he's might as well go ahead and jump. So I want to know, Tyler, what would your number have to be to go play over there? Because you're I feel like out of the four of us, you're the biggest. You don't like it the most. So I want to know what your number would be.
I'm gonna hardball like kind of how like the high schoolers out of the major league. I'm gonna have a number of 100 million to get me to play over there.
Okay, I mean I'd do it for 10, but 100 million, there you go. I mean, hey, Greg Norman, if you're tuned in, 10 million, I'll go, no problem. So we'll have the sports grant. We'll cover the lift tour. If you pay us all 10 million, I'd cover it. That's for sure. So,
Yeah, I mean, if they pay me 100 million to go cover it, then yeah, I would say yes in a heartbeat.
yeah.
If they paid you 50 grand to go cover it, you'd be over there.
I don't know. They got to pay
I
me.
don't know. 50 grand. It'd be I think there'd be some thought to it.
There's got to be at least
For
1 million.
3 days, you wouldn't cover it for 3 days for 50
No,
grand.
I'm thinking Wade probably means 50 grand for like a year.
Yeah, I meant like being a full-time job, I guess.
Oh, no. There's no.
No.
I'd have to at least get maybe like 120. Enough to be able to go over there and support my family.
I'm just putting my number so high because I'm sure they got all the money for that. So you might as well go all in.
But I mean, the 100 million is reserved for PGA Tour golfers, so they might not pay us that much. But I mean, I
have a win under my belt. That's more than some of our PGA Tour.
That's true. That is true.
Yikes.
Tyler's throwing shots out there. He has a win in the WAC.
Yeah, I have a win.
Yeah, so I mean, watch out, Liv. If you want a battle of the YouTube golfers, sign us up for 100 million. We'll go over there and do it. So, but if you want someone to bring you fantasy football knowledge, Tyler is your guy. So for 100 million, you can get Tyler to draft your league. So let us know if you.
I'll do that for $5. I mean, that's something that I actually enjoy.
Tyler, I'm trying to talk you up here, man. You can't be lowballing yourself. At least 20. Come on, you gotta make some money off of it.
True.
But with that, we go ahead and jump in. I mean, the preseason wrapped up this week. We mentioned all of our fantasy football drafts. This is our last week for the NFL preview. We've got the AFC and NFC West. Let's go ahead and start with the AFC West. We've got the Broncos, Chargers, Raiders, and Chiefs. We're going to start it off with Wade. Who's your pick to win the AFC West?
It's definitely going to be a very, very competitive division. I like what the Broncos have built. I mean, the Chiefs have done the least out of every team in that division, but it's hard to bet against, a team that's been to the Super Bowl several seasons in a row. Chargers kind of have the balance to me of a team that's been there, done that recently, but also have the youth and the momentum. But honestly, they kind of underwhelmed last year, and I don't think that they're much different of a football team. They did make some additions to the defense with, I think, J.C. Jackson and Khalil Mack, so that's a boost. And then the Raiders, they got Derek Carr, his college target, Devontae Adams. So I'm going to go with the Chargers just because I think that they have the best balance between established talent and young talent. But I would not be surprised if Kansas City walks away with this.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think I'm probably picking the Chiefs this year. Last year they had a little bit of a fluke, slow start, but I think they bounced back. But I feel like the AFC West has got to be one of the more competitive divisions this year, with the Broncos being rebuilt, Chargers with their young core just kind of surging with Justin Herbert. I almost said Abear, Justin Herbert. And then, I mean, the Raiders getting reloaded with Devontae Adams. I think Derek Carr is really going to benefit from that. But, I mean, the Chiefs, yeah, they lost Tyreek Hill and a few defensive key players. But I think with Patrick Mahomes at quarterback, he's the next big thing. Or he is the big thing. I think they run away with it. Maybe not run away with it. I think it would be close, but I think in the end they'll end up being the ones on top. So, Tyler, what's your thoughts? You're the expert.
Man, this is the toughest division to predict. I mean, I could see all four of these teams making it to the playoffs. I would have to say at least three will probably make the playoffs. I'm not even going to try and go 4-1 because I think it could go anyway. So I definitely think the additions obviously goes to the Raiders, adding Devontae Adams and the key piece, and then the Broncos, they go from Teddy Bridgewater and Drew Lock to Russell Wilson. So that offense will definitely thrive, especially with a young running back with Javonte Williams. And then you have the veteran running back behind him with Melvin Gordon, and then the receiving core is really good. You did lose Tim Patrick to a torn ACL, but you still have Cortland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy. So I think that Jerry Jeudy could have his best season. I mean, that's going to be his best quarterback that he's played with. And the Raiders, I mean, they made the playoffs last year. They lost to the Bengals in the first round. So I think that offense is going to could go a step up with Devontae Adams. Chargers added some really good pieces, especially with Khalil Mack. So I think that the defense could be a top 5 defense by season's end, especially if J.C. Jackson can stay healthy. And then you have Derwin James as safety. So the defense is loaded pretty much on every level. And then, like you said, mentioned Justin Herbert. I think he's going to have his best season yet with year 3. And then Austin Eckler, one of the best running backs. And then you have the Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. You just have so many weapons. And then you can't forget about the Chiefs. They did lose Tyreek Hill, but you just can't bet against Patrick Mahomes. But I'm going to go with the Los Angeles Chargers, and I'm not going to stop there. The Chargers will win the Super Bowl this year.
The Chargers will win the Super Bowl. Okay.
Yeah. I think they take that big of a leap this year.
All right.
Okay. You think Mr. Justin Herbert's having a MVP year?
MVP and number 1 quarterback in fantasy. I'm already hinting at it.
Okay, well, I guess I'll be drafting Herbert for fantasy football come Tuesday night.
He's going to be the MVP this year. I think that the Chargers they had a down year last year, but I just think that the way that they've been they're developing on the offense and then adding a key piece like Khalil Mack, I think that's going to be the difference in this year's team versus last year's team. So I think the defense will make some improvements and the offense will be the best that has been with Justin Herbert. I mean, going into year 3, he's got all the tools on offense. So, I mean, I don't really see any holes with his Chargers team. So why not?
Okay, I like it. I mean, go ahead and lock your bets in now, folks. Tyler is going all in on the Chargers. You ought to sprinkle a little money on them.
Well, I do have some
good
money
odds
sprinkled on. After last season, I put some money on the Arizona Cardinals because we've been seeing 2 consecutive years of Tampa Bay winning at their home stadium. We've seen Los Angeles, the Rams, win at their home stadium. So it's in Glendale this year. So I might as well – I put like $5 down after the season's in when it was like the Cardinals were like $2,500. So we'll see. That's I got some money sprinkled there. I might have to sprinkle some money on the Chargers as well to see what the line is there for them.
Yeah, that's – I mean, from history standpoint, $5 on a team that's $2,500 to 1, might as well. Fudge, what do you got?
I don't know what I got. Yeah, I'll agree with you guys. This is the toughest division in football right now. I think this will be the last division that anybody clinches, I think, all year. So, no, I like what Denver's done and the pieces that they've added. I just think it's going to take some time to get used to. I mean, you're going from Teddy Bridgewater, who's a below average quarterback, I think.
I mean, I think he's a backup quarterback that was thrust into a starting position. Let's put it that way.
And Drew Lock is not ready yet at all. So I think going to Russell Wilson now, it's a great addition. I will agree with Tyler. I think Jerry Jeudy's going to have a good year. He did leave out KJ Hamler, though. So we know Russell Wilson likes – I
was saving him for the fantasy corner. So
sorry.
You can't be leaking into the fantasy corner here, Jim. We gotta let Tyler get a spotlight here.
I kind of hinted at it, but I think that Russell Wilson loves his small targets. I mean, we've seen that in Seattle. He's going to go after the guys who are going to make catches and get yardage. I mean, that's what he's going to do, with the exception of DK Metcalf.
About to say DK Metcalf's a small target.
The man.
But Tyler Lockett was arguably wide receiver 1.
Yeah, he was.
Yes. So I mean, we'll see what happens there. I mean, I think that it's a good 1-2-3 punch really there in Denver. So I think it's good for them. As far as the Raiders go, adding Devontae Adams, I think the biggest thing that that helped the Raiders is adding Josh McDaniels as that head coach. I think that is by far the biggest leap that they needed, was somebody to come in and straighten that team out from the management and sideline pieces. So we'll see what happens there. Had a great career in New England, and I think he will definitely straighten out that Raiders team this year I think they'll make the playoffs again this year. I don't think they'll have a problem with that. As far as the Chiefs go, I don't know if I believe in – it's not if I don't believe in Patrick Mahomes, because I do. It's more of if I don't believe in Andy Reid.
Taking shots at Andy Reid.
I realize
what has Andy Reid done to you?
No, I realize what he's done. It's just people within that organization have made moves. As far as the staff have made moves, moved on to other programs, kind of behind the scenes. So I think that Kansas City's had their time. I think they'll make the playoffs, but I don't think they'll make it to the Super Bowl. I just don't think they're deep enough right now in order to do that. They need a couple more pieces. I didn't think they were there when they had Tyreek Hill. I don't think Tyreek Hill was the difference. I don't think really one guy is going to change the whole complexion of the team. It's not going to happen, especially in the NFL. But yeah, I'm going to agree with you, Tyler. I think the Chargers are the team to beat in that division. I think Justin Herbert is arguably the front runner, I think, for the MVP this year. One thing,
sprinkle a little money on them.
Yeah, I might have to go in on with that on Tyler.
But on the Chargers this year.
Yeah, so I think the biggest thing for them was defense. You went from one of the worst defenses in the league last year to arguably a top 5, like you said. I think a top 3 defense. I think there'll be 3. I think you can put the Saints in there at number 2 for defense this year.
Number 1.
We'll see. I don't know who the number 1 defense will be this year.
It'll be the Saints.
It'll be the New Orleans Saints.
It'll be the New Orleans Saints, followed by the Buffalo Bills, and then the Chargers at 3. Boom.
I mean, the Chargers did add – they added Khalil Mack to their defense. I mean, any defense with Khalil Mack on it is just – it's an upgrade.
I mean, you've got Khalil Mack and Bosa there. I mean, that's
nasty.
That's pretty bad. I mean, that's tough. So I think that's good. J.C. Jackson there, kind of defending the outfield there, I think is a great addition as well. Derwin James is there. I mean, he's one of the best in the league. So I think they're the team to beat in this division. I think they're the team to beat in the NFC or the AFC. I'm sorry, in the AFC. The only problem, like when we look at this division as a whole, and I'm spending a long time, but I don't understand why the Chiefs are in this division.
Yeah, it is very West Coast.
Geographically, it doesn't make any sense.
We need like
the majority
division,
of the NFL.
Kind of like in MLB, we need like a central division.
It got better when the Oakland Raiders moved to Las Vegas, becoming the Vegas Raiders. Kind of on a map, at least, it looks a little bit better, but I mean, that's still pretty West Coast.
Yeah. I mean, if we're going to complain about divisions, just look at, what the Big Ten is going to be. We're going to have teams in California and all over.
Here we go with the Big Ten.
And sure, they might get Miami next just to screw
You're
up.
You're hurting my head, Tyler.
I think a lot of the divisions now are just kind of all over the place and people are just okay with it. One thing I want to ask you, Futch.
Yep.
If the Chiefs make it to the Super Bowl over your Chargers, will you reach out to Jackson Mahomes and ask to do a TikTok dance with him?
I'll get handcuffed to Jackson Mahomes, just like Tyreek Hill decided to turn down. I will do that if they make it or win it. Is it what's the?
If they make it, if they win it, I want you to ask to get handcuffed. If they make it, I want you to reach out to Jackson Mahomes and ask to be in one of his TikTok dances.
Okay, I mean, yeah, I'll take that deal because he'll never answer me. And
you don't know, man. We didn't think Ross Dellinger would answer us, and he came on the show.
Hey.
I mean, who knows? I think Fletcher might be able to get in touch with Jackson Mahomes, and we could have him dancing.
I think he would
TikTok
answer.
style.
I think that man is pretty active on his phone, so I think he would get a reply in like a heartbeat. He would say, "Oh, I got a message. Who is this? Oh, he wants to do a TikTok with me. Sure.
Oh, he works at Home Depot. He can give me discounts.
It's not going to happen this year, guys. It's not. I promise.
Well, I like the Chargers to pick one in the Super Bowl. Maybe we'll have to sprinkle a little bit on that.
We'll have to see the odds of that because I feel like I think that they're at the top, but I think they're at the middle. I think it's probably like the Bills are the favorites to open up. The Bucks and the Rams are probably your top three.
Oh, and the Chargers bringing back those Navy uniforms this year.
Mm-hmm.
All
they got some of the cleanest uniforms. So yeah, I mean it's a tough team to not like for sure.
Do you think the sack leader this year comes from their D line between Bosa and?
I don't think so.
No.
I think it's either like Aaron Donald. It's got to be one of him.
Might be the other Bosa brother.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Too? Over on the 49ers, I mean, do you think between the Chargers and the 49ers D-line, who has more sacks?
I would probably have to give it to the Chargers.
Yeah, I mean, with Khalil back and Bosa, I feel like it's a little bit more of a dynamic duo there. But, okay, speaking of the 49ers, we'll shift it over to the NFC West with the 49ers, the Seahawks, the Rams, and the Cardinals. Well, Tyler apparently has the Cardinals winning this division with some money sprinkled on.
No.
You're not backing your bet?
No, I'm not backing my bet.
That's bad karma there, kid.
I can't bet against the Rams and Cooper Kupp. I love Cooper Kupp. What he did for me last year, I'm going to continue to pick the Rams until they have Cooper Kupp and Matthew Stafford on their team. I think that team is going to be – it might even be better than – I don't know how they can be better. Adding a guy like Allen Robinson is definitely going to make their offense better. I mean, they did lose Odell. I don't know what Odell is going to be doing. He's on a free agent. Maybe a team will sign him. Who knows? He's still recovering.
I think they'll sign him back whenever he's healthy.
I think it's just. But do they really need him? I mean, they have like Cooper Kupp, Van Jefferson, and Allen Robinson. So I think that the Rams are content with them. And then the defense. I mean, same thing with the Chargers. Both LA teams have two of the best defenses in the country. If you have guys like Jalen Ramsey, they did lose Von Miller to the Bills. But even losing Von Miller, this defense is still top 10, maybe even the top 5 defense. So. I had the Rams finishing 1, but I think it's going to be between a 2-team race. I think with Trey Lance at quarterback, the 49ers might see a little bit of drop-off. I just have to see him on the field. I can't really say like how good the 49ers are without seeing them. So we'll see how good the 49ers are week 1. But I just think that the Cardinals, definitely adding Marquise Hollywood Brown will help the absence of DeAndre Hopkins. But whenever D-Hop comes back, I think this team is going to be reloaded for a playoff run because – remember, go back to last year, this team was the last undefeated team. They were 7-0, and then like Cliff Kingsbury loves to do, they had that second half collapse, and then they get blown out. I think they didn't lose to the LA Rams in the first round, I believe so. So until that curse is lifted, I'm gonna have to go with the Rams.
Well, I mean, they are playing in their home stadium for the Super Bowl, so we'll see if history repeats itself. We'll throw it down to Wade. Wade, what you got?
I think it's a pretty straightforward pick for me. I think the LA Rams take the cake. They lost Odell Beckham. They replaced him with Allen Robinson. I mean, that's a pretty lateral move. And then I think the team just really gels together. I think they really trust Sean McVay. They saw the big picture, getting it, done last year, winning the Super Bowl. I think the Cardinals have a lot of talent. But, yeah, I mean, like y'all said, Cliff Kingsbury had this team lined up to be a number 1 seed, and they kind of limped into the playoffs. You got your star wide receiver out for 6 weeks to start the year. You just kind of hope you can tread water until you get him back. And then, as we all know, the Seahawks are, they're in a rebuild, if you will call it that. And then, to me, San Francisco, I just don't know what their direction is. I mean, they're a pretty solid football team, but they gave up on Garoppolo to try this Trey Lance experiment. I mean, I think maybe it's a push for the Super Bowl. Maybe it is. I don't know. But with that talent on that roster, I wouldn't have been experimenting with a rookie quarterback. I mean, I would have gone with Garoppolo, or I would have traded for a big-time veteran, maybe gone all in on Aaron Rodgers a couple seasons ago, or called Seattle about Russell Wilson, but I wouldn't chance it all on Trey Lance.
That was a good thing they didn't get Deshaun Watson.
True.
I mean, that to me sounds like some hard-hitting, researched evidence you got there. Not like Neil likes to call you out on the fan forum banter. That was the good stuff there. Futch, you took your hat off. Does that mean that you're going with the headless Seattle Seahawks with who knows who their quarterback is?
No. God, no. Could you imagine?
You don't think Seattle's going to run the table this year?
No, because Drew Lock's wrong. It rains every day in Seattle. It doesn't.
Yeah, I saw that quote. I was like, what in the world?
Yeah. So
what's the quote? We'll make it our quote of the week. Do y'all remember it?
He said something about it never rains in Seattle. It's always beautiful here or something. And it's like the tagline is Seattle's the rainy city.
Exactly. Yeah. That maybe Drew Lock took two shots to the head, and he's not seeing the rain out there anymore. But go ahead, Futch. Let's hear your pick for the NFC West.
I'm gonna go away from the Rams because I don't like the Rams. I'm just gonna say it now. I'm going to go with the Arizona Cardinals. I think they'll probably win this division by one game. One game, guys. So, yeah, I think it's a two-team race probably in this division. I don't anticipate the 49ers competing because it's just I don't think it's going to be the Trey Lance show right now. It's too early. I hear, everything we're hearing from camp is good about Trey Lance. I'm thinking, well, I don't care. I don't care until I see him on the field week 1 against a first-team defense, what's going to happen. So I don't trust it yet. I do think it was too early to go to him. I do agree with you, Wade. But I'm going to go with the Cardinals just because of Kyler Murray. I think he's probably the difference there. If he doesn't do what he did late in the season and run backwards and get more negative yardage than positive yardage. So, I'll go with Arizona.
Okay, well, a little Arizona action. Think you're going to take over. They're going to win it in their home stadium, which seems to be the general consistent.
Oh, I don't think they're going to win it.
You don't think they're going to take the Super Bowl?
No, God, no. Really?
Well, you just think they're going to take all the NFC West?
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
But think about it. They haven't been back since they played against the Steelers, in which that was an all-out dogfight.
Yeah, that was one of the better Super Bowls I think I've watched.
Yeah, I think that there, I'm going to pin that Super Bowl loss on Carson Palmer. So, yeah. Yeah. With football season starting up, everybody's excited. So we'll have to see what happens because who knows? It's got all the makings of a crazy football year with everything that happened in the offseason. I know y'all probably saw the Rams and the Cincinnati Bengals get into it this week at practice. Aaron Donald being pushed. I don't know who pushed that man. Rumor has it Joe Burrow is just that guy. Big dude. Nobody can mess with him. Cameron likes to tell me that he believes it was Joe Burrow that put Aaron Donald on his butt at practice. So I would like to think the same thing, but I'm pretty sure it wasn't Joe Burrow. But if it was, I think he's coming back for blood this year.
On a side note,
it's definitely Joe Mixon.
Oh, probably Joe. Why are you having the two teams that played in the Super Bowl last year meet in preseason camp? That's just very ill-timed planning.
One, I'm sure the Bengals don't have a great taste in their mouth about the Rams. They probably did it for the headlines, to be honest with you, to just get somebody to watch the preseason game, which the Bengals ended up beating them by 16 points. But, have that week 1, make it a game that counts or halfway through the season. I'm not a huge fan of nobody watches preseason, but then you've got the two teams that are probably the most mad at each other playing, getting in fights in camp. You're pushing over the biggest dude in the NFL who could probably kill you, Joe Mixon, if that was you pushing him. It was definitely an interesting take to see.
I'll watch the preseason just because for the sake of football being on. I don't need to see the Rams backups play the Bengals backups and then get in a fight.
Eli Apple could probably use the practice, but he's out here getting burnt.
God.
So,
I'm gonna start my rant on this because Tyler knows where I'm gonna start.
Okay,
as soon as Chet brought it up,
the Home Depot rant.
I was hoping you wouldn't bring this up because yes, I hate the Rams for this. it's a bad idea for them to do this against each other here. But the fact that we really haven't heard anything from the Rams, Aaron Donald hasn't been suspended, he hasn't been fined, nothing's kind of happened. I don't think anything will happen because they don't want him to.
Yeah, you think they care? I mean, it's Aaron Donald.
I don't care who it is, to be honest with you.
I don't think the Rams are suspending their golden boy.
No, of course not. And that's what ticks me off.
Cup.
That's what ticks me off in the first place. Myles Garrett got suspended for swinging.
Yeah, he went full Myles Garrett. He was swinging his helmet everywhere.
No. Just one helmet he got suspended for. One helmet.
Yeah, Aaron Donald was fist of fury on both helmets, dual welding them, going nuts.
My question is how did he end up with two helmets? Like, I really want one person in that brawl with just a GoPro on their helmet just to see how that happened. Because how do you rip, like, you could have ripped both their heads off. But I think it's terrible for looking at the Rams. I think that just speaks to the fact that they are so engulfed in themselves that it really, I mean, somebody seriously could have gotten hurt there. Because, I mean, Mason Rudolph seriously could have gotten hurt against, what Myles Garrett did. So
and he was suspended for like 6 games or something, wasn't it? It was something crazy.
Yeah. So, without pay, yeah, I mean, it was pretty extensive. But, yeah, I don't understand. They don't want him to miss the first game of the year against the Buffalo Bills. I get it. Because it's the team that everybody sees them, probably facing off against each other in the Super Bowl. I really don't care. I think it's sad. And I think it's sad I turned on the TV that morning and ESPN had their crap on with Stephen A. Smith and all those people. And I'm so pissed off about it that it's gotten to the point where I won't even
fired up.
I won't even watch it anymore. I won't even watch it anymore because it's so far from the game itself now that it's not worth watching. I mean, that's why people listen to podcasts like this and other people, because they don't want to listen to that anymore. Nobody wants to turn on the TV and see something on Outside the Lines that has nothing to do with the game of football or baseball or basketball. Nobody cares. So I think it's gotten too far. A lot of these reporters have gone too far in their or broadcasters. I don't want to say reporters, but broadcasters, because or analysts. They call analysts. Some guy that just came out of the NFL from last year is not considered an analyst in my book. I don't consider Sam Macho to be an analyst, or Ryan Clark. So I don't understand.
Hey, Ryan Clark's a pretty good analyst now. Don't be hating on him.
Man rolls out of bed in the morning and hops on First Take.
Hey, what do you think I do here? I'm just not getting paid to do it.
What is it called? Wake up or whatever the
Get up.
I mean, yeah, I'd be rolling out of bed to get on that too. It starts at like 5 a.m.
Yeah. Well, there's a reason why they're on at 5 o'clock in the morning. Let's just remember that. So, I mean, that's the consensus.
Fletch is taking shots at the entire sports industry on our show tonight. First live show, and he's just out here throwing lasers.
I am, and Tyler and I had an extensive conversation.
So, do you want to have Aaron Donald on the show and ask him if he's thought about?
Sure, punch me through the screen. He doesn't know where I live. I'm okay.
Especially if you pick like West Virginia against his boys in Pitt Panthers, he would probably punch you through the screen, because he's
gonna reach through
an extensive rivalry coming up.
And that's where it gets even worse, is because I'm a Penn State fan and Pitt, and it's just not a good mixture in the first place. But yeah, I just think that there needs to be, I get it. It's up to the team whether they want to do something, because it's not a league game and it didn't happen a game, but somebody needs to step up and make a decision, or it's just going to keep happening.
Hit him with a 5.
Yeah. There's
him play the first quarter without his helmet.
Yeah. It'd probably be, honestly, it wouldn't affect him.
I don't think so. I think his head's harder than the helmet. But I don't understand. I watched literally video after video from camps where people got into fights. I mean, seriously? So you guys are in your late 20s, early 30s, and you're out here throwing hands at each other while you got a bunch of 7-year-olds sitting in the crowd watching you, looking up
I
to
feel bad
you.
for the kids that
Yeah.
the parents brought their kids, and you're just seeing all these guys fight out there. I mean, I get football's a very intense sport. Your tempers flare. I mean, you're just trying to hit people, but I mean, have some good sportsmanship, especially for your young fans out there. For what they come to watch you. I mean, they're watching you practice for Pete's sake. It's not like they're even at a game. So
Right.
I mean, I think it's uncalled for. It's fun to see it happen. I'll be honest with you. I like to see what's his name, Aaron Donald, get thrown on the ground. So
Yeah.
but
Last thing I'll say is approach it like this. Go get a box of Oreos and go up to Christian McCaffrey, give them to him, and he'll give you some cleats. Call it a day. Done.
yeah. So well, with that, I want to Tyler. Quick run through of your fantasy football corner, last one for the seasons, because I know we're almost at an hour here with Futch's rant on Aaron Donald.
I'm sorry, I had to.
I know you had to, but we want to leave time for Tyler for the fantasy football expert. Tyler, let's hit it with your fantasy football corner.
Yeah, I'll just list it off since we still have to do our NCAA preview here. So I'll cut my fantasy football corner short. So the first thing I want to get to is the late round targets. I've kind of hinted on are these guys, so I don't really have to go too much in depth. Jalen Tolbert, the Dallas Cowboys receiver, I've mentioned, the former South Alabama product. He was an absolute beast for the Jags during his 3 or 4 years there. So then with James Washington and Michael Gallup being injured, I definitely think that he's going to plug in as the wide receiver 2. So that could definitely be a late round pick. George Pickens, the Pittsburgh Steelers, he's the rookie. He's really been impressing me both in camp and in preseason. I think he's going to be the wide receiver 2, right? I think he's honestly Chase Claypool. He's a bust. I would never draft him in fantasy ever again. He's never been good for me. I don't think he's even had like one game where he gets like double digits. So I think that George Pickens is definitely a much better wide
NFL young
receiver.
boy right there.
I honestly think that George Pickens could even assert himself as wide receiver 1 by the end of the season. I think that Deontay Johnson is the main target as of now, but George Pickens, I think that he's definitely proven a name for himself. So whether the quarterback is Mitch Trubisky or Kenny Pickett, I would definitely draft George Pickens. And then Damian Pierce, I think he's going to be the clear running back 1 for the Houston Texans. I don't really trust Rex Burkhead or Marlon Mack anymore. They're out of their prime. I just think that getting a young guy of Damian Pierce, he's really been impressing me. He impressed me in week 1 of the preseason against the Saints. I know it's against the backup, so we'll have to see if he can do the same thing against these NFL defenses. But I think, the Houston Texans, I think I would draft some of their guys like Brandon Cooks in the middle round. Like I'm seeing like a lot of people doubting this Houston Texans offense. I mean, all they have to do is be okay for like Damian Pierce and Brandon Cooks to have a good fantasy day. And then I'm going to go to Green Bay for this one, Romeo Dubes, wide receiver. I just think that the wide receiver room, who knows who's going to be the wide receiver 1? Is it going to be Alan Lazard? Is it going to be Romeo Dubes? Is it going to be Sammy Watkins? We don't know who Aaron Rodgers' favorite target is because he hasn't stepped on the field with these guys.
We know who his Hall
I already
of Fame
know what
pick
you're going to
is.
say. He's a Hall of Fame wide receiver, blah, blah, blah. No, he's not. He's not far from that. Aaron Rodgers can take that back. And I'm going to go with 2 Penn State guys surrounded off Jahan Dotson and KJ Hamler. Like Jacob mentioned, KJ Hamler is pretty much a Tyler Lockett Jr. He's got the speed. I think he ran like a 4.3 at the combine a couple of years ago. Then Jahan Dotson, I definitely think he's going to be the wide receiver 2 behind Scary Terry. So those are your 6 late round targets.
Yeah, I mean, I picked up Tolbert and Pierce the last 2 rounds of my draft yesterday.
Well, then check. You got them all.
We'll see if they pay off. For the NCAA preview, I know we've got NASCAR Neil waiting on the line. So instead of going through each team, I just want to hear from Wade. Who's your winner for the Big 12?
I thought we were on Pac-12. We're on the Big 12. Okay.
We're on Big 12 and the Pac-12.
Okay.
Because we are running out of weeks before college football starts.
Well, it's actually week 1 this week. So.
I did all my Pac-12 homework. I'm just kidding. I really didn't. Big 12. All right. Boring, but I'm going to give it to Oklahoma. I mean, I just don't think Texas is there.
Texas
feels odd
isn't
for me to
back?
pick.
What?
It's
Yeah.
odd for me to pick
Shocker.
Baylor. I just feel like Oklahoma has the most remaining talent on their roster, and Brenton Venables has been there, done that. So I'm not saying that they're going to be in the playoff or that they're going to win a New Year's Six bowl, but I think that they could win this conference at like 10-2. They might not even be the best team going into the conference championship game, but they'll maybe knock off Baylor or someone like that in the title game.
Okay. Tyler, who's your pick in the Big 12?
Well, I'm going to give a sleeper. I think it's going to be Kansas State. I think that Kansas State could be a sleeper pick. Deuce Vaughn, the running back, he could also be a dark horse for the Heisman race as well. Us LSU fans saw Kansas State in our last game, and we know how that ended up. But I'm actually going to go with Oklahoma State. I definitely think the returning talent that they have with Spencer Sanders, they did lose their top quarterback, Jarek Bernard Converse. He decided to use his last year, go home and play for LSU, but I just think that this is one of the most veteran teams, not only in the country, but in the Big 12. I did talk up Oklahoma a couple of weeks ago with Dylan Gabriel, but I just don't know how they're going to do with the new environment. Brent Venables, this is like his first head coaching job in a very long time, so I don't know how he's going to do. So I'd rather just trust the mullet man. I do have Oklahoma and Oklahoma State meeting in the Big 12 championship, but I have the Pokes taking the Big 12 this year.
Interesting pick. Fudge, what you think? You agree with Tyler for once, or are we going to argue again for 20 minutes?
No, I agree with Tyler on the Pokes. I'm gonna go. I don't think OU's gonna be there this year. I'm gonna go with the rematch again. Baylor and Baylor and Oklahoma State. I think are going to be the two teams that square off. I got Baylor repeating.
Okay, yeah, I agree with that one. I like Baylor this year, so we'll see if Dave Aranda can finally get it done. Pac-12. We'll switch up the order. Tyler, what you got for Pac-12 after dark?
Well, what I noticed on college football coast to coast, Pac-12 no longer has the divisions of the North and the South, so it's down to two best teams. So that makes it a whole lot easier. USC and Utah. And I'm going to go with Utah. I've had them in my playoff prediction, so be of that. There's so much hype around USC, but no one's really talking about Utah this season. All the hype's about Caleb Williams and old Lincoln Riley. But guess where they have to go in the regular season? To Utah. It's probably going to be a night game at Saturday night. It's always a tough place
at 11
to play.
o'clock at night.
11 o'clock. Yeah, so that stadium's going to be rocking. They do open up the season against Florida on the road. So if they win that game, their schedule sets up very nicely for them to go undefeated or 11-1. So I think that Utah wins the Pac-12 and then gets a spot against Alabama in the college football playoff.
Okay, interesting take. Wade, who do you like?
I'll take Utah as well, but I'll take them over Oregon. I think that I'm not buying the USC hype train quite this early. I think that next year will be the year that they make the leap. But yeah, I feel pretty confident Utah will reign supreme. I mean, they made it to the Rose Bowl last year. I think they'll go right back there this year.
Okay, I like it. Fudge?
Rare occasion, I'm going to agree with Tyler. USC and Utah.
Finally.
Yeah, and you can tell BYU to get the hell out of there with that 11 o'clock game at night. So
that's always the best one, though. The BYU Utah game at 11 o'clock at night.
But I will say, Jacob and I have been like on Utah.
Second quarter. Like it's not eventful.
Whoa.
No, I've got Utah. I think Utah's my team. They're my team to crack the top four at the end of the year and be that fourth team at the end of the year, actually. So, no, I think they're the team to beat in the Pac-12, and I think they will probably wipe the floor with everybody else, or at least that's my hope. I don't see Oregon there. I don't. They don't even know who the starting quarterback's going to be this year, and that's the sad part.
Bo Nix, baby.
Yeah, well, it probably won't even be Bo Nix.
That's the problem. Their head coach in an interview he doesn't even know, and that's. I get it. It's before the season starts, and you don't want to give the job to somebody, but
They don't want to give the game plan away to Georgia, even though it won't matter because Georgia will probably beat them like 42-10 in game one.
Oh,
so
yeah,
they're
yeah,
just
no,
gonna
I have
roll on through 'em.
no confidence
that's
in
that-
Oregon versus Georgia.
That's that neutral site game, guys. You know.
Yeah, neutral side in Atlanta.
Good
It's going to be
idea.
like 99% red and probably
Wait,
like 1%
it's a neutral site in Atlanta?
Yes.
That you can't call that a neutral site
Well,
game. It's
right,
in
it's
the
It's no
home
better than
state.
LSU playing.
They've done
in
it
New
3
Orleans.
years in a
Yeah,
row.
Right.
Jeff.
Yeah.
3 years in a row.
It's just a way to, get a little not NFL money, I guess, but some private sponsorship for a home game.
Chick-fil-A, my dude.
Yeah, big time Chick-fil-A. Well, Tyler, you mentioned college football coast to coast. We'll go ahead and get y'all a shout out for Tyler and Jacob for your college football analysis and detailed dive into the college football game from coast to coast. Check them out on Facebook at College Football Coast to Coast. Well, they upload their podcast or they do their live shows on Mondays. So I'm sure we'll be tuned in to hear more about your picks on there. Some teams that do know their starters would be Auburn and Texas A&M, and also Texas. I can't remember the guy's name at Texas, but
Quinn
he's got
Ewers.
a heck of a haircut. Mr. Quinn Ewers is announced as the starting quarterback at Texas.
There can only be one mullet in the Big 12, and that's Mike Gundy.
well, he's got something to say about that.
Well, Oklahoma State, and they're going to beat Texas this year.
And then Haynes King announced as a starter at Texas A&M. I got some insight from some Texas A&M fans this weekend that they thought Mr. Max Johnson was going to be the starter, that he was the kingdom come savior of Texas A&M football.
They should be glad.
And they should be very happy. I'm just glad we don't have to see that Max Johnson's dad, Brad Johnson, played in Super Bowl for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and won a Super Bowl. Did you know that, folks? And that this picture of Brad holding up Max.
I actually
like
didn't. It's like they mention it like every week whenever LSU played.
Yeah, I probably heard it, 15 times a game. But yeah, he'll be sitting the bench for Texas A&M. And the biggest shocker to me, I guess, the whole moped without a helmet incident was a whole fluke. TJ Finley, starter at Auburn. What do you think about that, Tyler?
Yeah, I thought that Zach Calzada would have got that job with flying colors the way that he played at Texas A&M. And like Max Johnson, I've been hearing that he's like not even the second string. He's the third string quarterback on that team. So he went from being the starting quarterback to sitting on the bench and probably never playing another down unless Haynes King gets hurt. So, yeah, I think that's honestly the only question mark for Texas A&M heading into the season. They got pretty much all the pieces that they can ask for being a top 10 team this year and competing in the SEC West again. But it's just a matter of how good can Haynes King be. I mean, if he's average, then I think that Texas A&M could be a 10-win team by the end of the year. And then going back to Auburn with TJ Finley, yeah, it's just not going to be a pretty year, especially with the athletic director gone before football season. So honestly, it doesn't matter what Brian Harsin does. I just have all the signs pointing towards him being gone either during the season or after the season. He's definitely gone.
Yeah, well, you heard it here first, folks. And I'm just shocked that TJ is the starting quarterback. I figured after his little run-in with the law and the moped and the inking his Amazon NIL deal that they might be rethinking that. But I guess it doesn't matter over there in Auburn, Alabama. We have a new segment that's actually brought to you by NorseBeards.com. So if you want your beard looking nice and thick, I'll mark it on mine. Futch just shaved his off, so he doesn't have his. I thought he was going to grow it out for college football season, but I guess they
boys.
can't.
I did. It started.
Well, okay, so you're starting clean. You went ahead and shaved it off, and you start clean.
Yeah, every Penn State lost the week that they lose, he has to shave it off.
I like that.
Okay,
I will do that.
I like that.
So get ready to shave it off week 1.
Oh, Lord. Here we go.
The hate has already started with Fletch and the Penn State boys.
I already said that Purdue is going to win. You can see, and you'll find out on Wednesday who we pick.
Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, you can head on over to NorseBeards.com, enter promo code OCS for 25% off all your beardsman needs and get that beard looking right. But the new segment we're starting off with Sports Scramble is going to be the weekly parlay. We're picking 3 teams. Right now, it's going to be college football. We may venture into the NFL. Futch is our degenerate gambler. He's addicted to sports gambling, and we're just trying to help him out.
Don't be like
spread the
Futch.
money around. But so the 3 teams that we picked this week, and we can discuss it a little bit. We've got the Arkansas and Cincinnati game. We're picking Arkansas to cover the 6-point spread with they're favored by 6 points. Does everybody agree with that?
Oh, yeah. I don't believe in Cincinnati this year. They lost a lot on both sides of the ball, and Fayetteville's a tough place to play. With KJ Jefferson, he's going to light it up this year.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I agree. I think Arkansas is going to come out. They got punched in the mouth last year towards the end of the season, and I think they're going to be ready to play. The next game, I never bet on them because they're my team. LSU against Florida State this coming Sunday at 6:30 in New Orleans, neutral site game. LSU's a 3-point favorite, and I like it. I think we cover the spread easy. Now, if it shifts to a 3.5, that's kind of tough because, we could win by a field goal. We'll probably end up beating them by 2 touchdowns because we always come out firing in New Orleans in these preseason games. The only thing that worries me is that Florida State got matched up with the mighty Dusk Queen in week 0. Kane, Dusk Queen, whoever it was. They got run on for 6 rushing touchdowns. Okay? The Kane, the Squeen. I don't even know where it's at.
Squeen? I've never heard of that.
Okay, well, Florida State's got some experience coming into week 1, and that's what worries me. But I like the Tigers covering the 3-point spread. What do you think, Mr. LSU Wade?
Yeah, I think if you're going to bet on this game and have confidence in LSU winning, I think LSU will take it by a touchdown. But I could also see LSU losing by a touchdown. So I don't know. I like it, though. I would bet LSU on that one.
Hey, Fudge, before I get into this next game, I want you to plug the 3 games into your sports betting app and let me know what the odds are for the parlay. All right. So just to recap, it was Arkansas to cover, LSU to cover. And then the last one, we have Colorado, who's actually playing TCU, and TCU's the 11-point favorite. We've got Colorado to cover the spread. I think 11 points for giving TCU over Colorado is a lot, but I think Colorado keeps it close. I mean, it's week 1. TCU always is big hyped up, but they usually crumble. So, Tyler, what are your thoughts on that one?
I don't know about that one. I definitely think that Colorado has you just look last year, they were so inconsistent. That one week they played Texas A&M about as good as anyone did. Last year was like 13-7 game. Like Colorado's defense, was like the best in the league for 1 week. Granted, it was like Haynes King at the time. But I don't know. I just think that TCU is one of those teams that is, especially with Sonny Dykes, the new head coach, that's going to be a new culture. We don't know. But yeah, I think 11 points, especially on the road at Boulder. You never bet against Colorado at Boulder. So the more I think about it, yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I like it solely based on the 11 points aspect. Yeah. I don't know much about it.
If it was like 7, then I'd be like, but 11 points, that's a bit too much for a week 1 game.
So what you're looking at on that 3-leg with those 3 bets, you're looking at plus 603.
Not bad action there, boys.
No.
Sprinkle a little bit of maybe $10 on there, turn it into.
I'm sprinkling money too much now. You've been sprinkling money on this whole entire episode.
I've been sprinkling money on my yard, or not money, sprinkling water on my yard, my sprinklers.
How much money?
And it's basically water is sucking money out of my bank account. So I might as well sprinkle it on something that can make me some money.
Hey, Chad, if you're growing dollars over there, I'll be over there tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm over here for a rematch of the WAC. So. But yeah, that was our weekly parlay series. We're gonna start up. Let us know in the chat what y'all think on our picks. And we've got in the flesh. He needs no introduction. He's our NASCAR expert, Mr. NASCAR Neil, joining the show. How are you doing tonight, Neil?
I'm doing great.
I understand that we had some crazy race today. You texted me that it was just insane finish. So go ahead, start off. Let us know who won the race today to cap that last playoff spot.
So Austin Dillon won the race today, and today after being in the lead with a rain delay today, the race was really scheduled for last night. Thunderstorms going through the east coast of Florida, down there in Daytona Beach. Race started this morning about 9 a.m. Central. Started rolling, got down the last 26 laps. Rain rolls in. NASCAR hesitantly did not throw the caution as the drivers entered turn 1. It started downpouring. All the leaders lose traction. They all bunch up, wreck. A handful of drivers make it through. Austin Dillon manages to sneak low, gets to the wreck. We enter a 3.5-hour rain delay. Hold. A lot of controversy on whether or not NASCAR should have thrown the flag earlier. Later, there were some spotters saying it was raining from the moment they left turn 4 going to turn 1. They didn't throw the flag. The wreck happens. People are upset, saying it's kind of some bullshit. But NASCAR did their best. After 3.5 hours, they got back going green with 26 to go. Austin Dillon fails on the restart, but managed to hang out in the front pack. With 3 to go, makes a pass to the lead, ends up getting the last win, becomes the 16th winner. However, earlier this week, Kurt Busch pulled his waiver for the playoff bid due to concussions from 6 weeks ago during the Pocono practice, allowing 1 point driver to get in the playoffs.
Okay, so we had somebody jump in that wasn't planning on racing next week.
The issue was that he felt for his health. He didn't feel fair to take a playoff spot if he didn't think he could be ready for week 1, which opened it up to a point driver to get in. And it ended up being a battle between my guy, Martin Truex Jr. and Ryan Blaney. Blaney got caught into a wreck with 7 to go in the first stage. I thought he was done for it. It was a shoe-in for Truex to get in on points. Blaney managed to battle back, hung around about 6 laps down. And due to that last wreck, enough drivers wrecked out. Truex was not able to hold on to the points lead, ended up finishing 3 points below the cut line, missed the playoffs, which is kind of sad. He's my guy, and he's been hot and cold. I thought he might make a run deep in the playoffs this year, but it kind of fell out.
Hey, Mother Nature had other plans. So this was Austin Dillon's first win this year to lock up the last playoff spot. Hey, that's good timing.
Yeah, good time for a win.
Yeah, really.
And that's kind of the fun thing. I personally am a fan of it, of ending the regular season at Daytona, because it's a wild card race. Anybody can win it. And it makes it more fun, especially this year before the announcement earlier this week when we originally had 1 slot left. It was, if you can win and you're in on, you can make anything happen and stuff. And he managed to do it. And he's a good plate racer. So, and he was one of those guys that and stuff. And even going into the rain delay, he apparently, from the interviews they did on TV and what the broadcast, he was locked in. He was fully prepared for them to go back green, and they did. He managed to make the move with 3 to go with his grandfather kind of coaching him through, his grandfather being the legendary Richard Childress, the famed team owner of Dale Earnhardt Sr.
Mm-hmm.
So he kind of coached him through, told him to, don't wait too long, don't do too early. With 3 to go, managed to make it and held off, and he ended up linking up with his teammate, Tyler Reddick behind him, was blocking for him, going to the finish. So that helped out huge.
Yeah, I mean, kudos to him for making his way through that wreck. So playoffs are starting. What is the format for them? How many races do we have in the playoffs?
We have 10 races. It's 3 rounds in a championship, and it's three rounds of 3 races, starting off next week at Darlington. And the first round is Darlington, Kansas, and Bristol. So you get a legendary track, classic Southern 500, a good mile and a half, then a short track cutoff race for that round. And after that round, we eliminate 4 drivers. And then the round of 12, we start off at Texas Motor Speedway, my now local home track. I'll be there having a good time. It's right down the road from me. I got my tickets. I'm ready to go for that. Then we go to Talladega, another plate track. Anybody can win. Then we go to the Charlotte Roval, which is a road course inside Charlotte Motor Speedway. So that's another wild card, good cutoff race. And then the round of 8, go on a kind of a West Coast to Vegas, which we've already been to once. Then we go to Homestead, Miami, and then end at another short track at Martinsville. And I personally am a big fan of these cutoff races and being short tracks. So there's a lot of beating and banging. A lot of guys can do that. And then we end the season at the Championship 4 at Phoenix and stuff. And I'm kind of excited to see who can make it. I got 3 guys I think are going to make it, but that 4th spot to me is kind of wide open. So it's going to be fun.
Hit us. Who are the 3?
Yeah,
let's
see your prediction.
I'm personally thinking Chase Elliott. I'm rocking a Hendrick Motorsport hat. I think he's been high. He's got 4 wins this year, running really good at a variety of tracks. He's a regular season champion. He locked that up last week during the middle of stage 1. My second, I think, is Denny Hamlin. He started off kind of sluggish, but they've been there where they need to be. I think of the Gibbs cars. I think he's the best bet. Kyle Busch has been struggling too much, and I think it rolls good. And my last one is Joey Logano. I can't stand him as a driver, but he's been fast, been up front. I think the way the schedule plays out in his favor. But that 4th spot, he can kind of go either way. there's a lot of people wanting to get payback and revenge from bad moves all year. I think there's going to be some drama playing out towards the middle of this run. I mean, Blaney could make it. He won the All-Star race at Texas earlier this year, which he got in the playoffs as the 1-point driver without a win or out of that actual point playing win. He did win the All-Star race back in May at Texas, but yeah, I'm excited. It's going to be a fun run. I'm looking forward to actually going to the race here at the end of September. It's going to be a fun time.
So the last race, it's only 4 drivers. Is that right?
Yes, but throughout the entire playoff, every driver still runs, but they're the only ones competing for it.
Okay.
So it's still like a normal track field.
Yeah, it's still a full field, but it's just those are the drivers eligible. And you get points based on how you finish each race and how you finish compared to everybody else. Also, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to ask, what's the payout at the end? Guy that takes home the what's thing. What's he end up taking home?
I honestly not exactly positive on it. A lot of drivers are paid based on a percentage of sponsorship money and their contract wise. So, but a typical per race purse for the entire event is about $8 million, depending on the race and the event. And so then also there's a weird way where we don't have franchises in the sport. We have something called charters, where every car number is at the charter, and that's kind of holds the value of the team. It's a newer system that allows team owners to have value in their race team and stuff. And if you have a charter, then you get a higher percentage of the money unless you run without a charter, which no one really does very often, or you run a part-time without a charter because you can't really afford to run it very well. And there's also a separate points thing of owners' points and drivers' points, which the owners' points are based on the title of the car number itself and how you finish in that number. It depends on the money and the percent of the money and stuff. For example, the driver who pulled out of the drivers' playoff, his number, the 45, is still in the actual points playoff, in the owners' playoff for the playoffs. So the 45 is still earning points to increase the bonus for that team. 23-11.
Okay, but it's a different driver. Is that
correct? Yeah, the 45's driver Kurt Busch, he had a concussion during practice.
Right. Yeah.
Pocono 6 weeks ago, and he's been filling in by Ty Gibbs, who's been running pretty solid and stuff. So, it's a weird system. It's kind of confusing. Not many people fully understand it. I don't fully understand myself, and I'm really relying on a guy on Twitter, reporter on Twitter that keeps it straight when all this stuff comes up. So and that's kind of what I've gathered from what he's tweeted out in the last couple of weeks involving this whole ordeal.
Okay, well, I mean, you're our expert, so whatever you say, I'm
going off of it. I look forward to the people I listen to see what they have to say. Show I listen to weekly. They're very opinionated. They're one of the most opinionated people in the sport, and they're gonna be very vocal because they played his audio on the broadcast saying that it was raining before the rain started and got featured. So it's gonna be very fun to hear what he has to say and stuff because he was saying it was raining before they did it. But I will say, interesting fact though, only 10 drivers finished on the lead lap today of the 37 that started the race.
Wow,
it was a lot of wrecks. Very interesting. Like we had, it's play racing, known for big wrecks, but still, it was insane to see.
Yeah, I mean, it's not easy to race in the rain. I mean, I was out there at the go-kart track a few weeks ago, and we had rain going as soon as the race started. I was sliding all over the place, sliding. I can't imagine going 260 miles an hour around a track trying to. And
there was a lot of issues of it was raining in the area, and they raced into sprinkles, and we can run in rain at road courses. Like last weekend at Watkins Glen, they started the race in the rain because they have special tires for those lower speed tracks. But however, at Talladega and Daytona, it's a 2.5 mile track. You're running 190. It's not safe to do that kind of thing. But
right,
yeah. But I'm excited for this playoff run. I'm looking forward to going and watching it in Texas here in a few weeks. So it's gonna be a good time.
Yeah, if anybody's out there at the Dallas track, you'll have to see if you could spot NASCAR Neil in the stands. So Neil, who's
probably be surrounded by a pile of Miller Lite cans.
Hey, that's the only way to do a NASCAR race.
It is. Bring your own cooler. It makes it worth it.
Exactly. I know you gave us 3 drivers. Who's the guy that you think is going to take it home in the end?
I'm thinking Chase Elliott. He was our 2020 champion, won the regular season. It's been hot, been consistent. I mean, I just think he's got the best bet. And and he gets a lot of bad rep because he's the golden child. They like to say, his dad was a sport and was really talented. He gets a lot of hate because he's at one of the big three teams. He's really good, full of resources, but I think he's got it. 4 wins. I mean, he's leading the sport in wins, regular season champion. And with how the points works, he got 15 bonus points for winning the regular season for the playoff points. So he's already locked into the next round almost, as long as he doesn't do completely bad, lose in DNFs once or twice. But if he runs two consistent races, he'll be locked in. So it's not the pressure for him wouldn't really come on until the round of 8. And even in the round of 8 with those tracks, he's quite good at. I mean, he's quite good at Martinsville. He's a good short track racer. In Miami Homestead, it's an older style of racing that he's quite good at. So I'm excited for it.
We'll have to see what the odds are on NASCAR racing. Maybe, as I like to say, sprinkle a little bit on Chase Elliott.
So Elliott, the champion, he's only plus 270. He's at the and stuff, which is really bad odds for NASCAR.
Terrible.
If y'all want to say odds, though, a guy today did a four leg parlay today, put $13 on it, and won close to $1 million today.
Wow! Just on NASCAR?
Yeah, on it. He did a 4-way bet on drivers finishing the top 10. A bunch of guys who we refer to as back markers. They back the field, guys who usually run around the back of the pack, can't do anything. But so many people wrecked, and they managed to stay clean. They did it.
Maybe he had a little something to do with them not calling the race when it started.
I mean, but it was insane. The guy did it through FanDuel. It's insane. Like, I used to bet on it. Dude, all spring I bet on it, kind of in a bad way. I won money doing it last year, but since I've moved, I've kind of had to cut back a little bit. But
we don't have legal sports betting over here in Texas.
Not yet, sadly. But I did all spring. Last year I did it through some offshore stuff, and I won okay money last year. But this year I lost so much to start the year off when it was legal in Louisiana. I just cut back. I might put some money on a Texas race, some of that when I'm there. But I don't know.
Well, you may win some money on our little 3-team parlay. I think you joined in when we were discussing it. So we might have to add Chase Elliott on there.
Hey, now that I can bet on college sports now, I'm all for it.
Yeah. So I mean, we'll be bringing it each week. You heard it here first, folks. Chase Elliott plus 270. Sprinkle a little bit of money on there and ride with NASCAR Neil. Well, Neil, I appreciate you hopping on.
I will say though, next week's gonna be sketchy because it sucks that LSU is playing at the same time as this race. So it's going to be a tough battle of my attention next Sunday.
Me and NASCAR Neil will be taking in the LSU season opener together.
There you go.
I'll be in Neil's neck of the woods. So we'll try to go somewhere where we can have it, both on at the same time. Neil can tell him to put that NASCAR on and turn off whoever else is playing. So,
yeah. You'll have to, Neil's got a sports bar picked out down there, it sounds like. So you should be good to go. So, but yeah, Neil, I appreciate you hopping on and giving us your takes. So we'll have you on again once the playoffs finish up, or maybe right before that final race. Yeah. And we can see what's shaping up in the NASCAR world.
Yeah. I might send y'all something in from Texas. I might send y'all some stuff in to post for the Texas race maybe to come my segment maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, so pictures from NASCAR Neil, some live coverage from the Dallas race. So
Texas Speedway, baby.
Yep. Appreciate you coming on, Neil.
All right, thank you.
Well, folks, that was NASCAR Neil with the NASCAR insights. So we have him on every week. Figured might as well go ahead and have him on for right before the playoffs started. So we had a nice comment from Futch's mom. Great show. Thank you there.
We love motherly support.
Exactly. We're all about it over here at Sports Scramble.
I had to show it, man.
just watch your son out there gambling.
I'll start doing that throughout the show. Like whenever I see comments, I'll start flashing them on whenever.
Exactly. So, well, hey, we got a 3-team parlay. You got NASCAR Neil's input. We're all about winning on Sports Scramble. Maybe we'll win some money these next couple of weeks. So. I think that pretty much wraps up all the topics. The only last one, Mr. Julio Rodriguez inks an extension with the Mariners worth up to $470 million. What's your thoughts on that, Wade? You're the MLB guy.
Yeah, this is a trend that we're seeing with, teams wanting to get their young franchise players locked up on these big time deals. Some people say it's ripping them off. To me, not so much. I mean, the teams could pay these guys the major league minimum for the next 3 to 4 years, and then they could slowly kind of working their way up through performance based pay. So to me, it makes a lot of sense to go ahead and make, tens of millions of dollars guaranteed when you could be making $500,000. But yeah, probably year 10 through 14 on that deal, he's going to be regretting it because we don't know what inflation's going to do. And by then he should be, the Mike Trout of baseball. So making less than $20 million a year will not be worth his standard of play. But, you got to start somewhere. And it's a lot of guaranteed money for the Mariners. I mean, it doesn't always work out the way you have it planned. I mean, the Padres just threw the bank at Fernando Tatis in a very similar fashion, and now they have to deal with a culture thing for 12 years.
Hey, well, I tell you what, Julio Rodriguez better watch where he's getting his haircut because according to Fernando Tatis, that the barber gave him some steroids when he was cleaning his hair. So he better be mindful where he's getting that cut at. So, but I mean, how long is the contract? How many years?
I think it's 14 years, 13 or 14.
Oh, I think
14.
I think I lost some audio there. My AirPods might have killed on me. Well, I think Tyler, I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
I think it's great. I mean, he's going to be the face of the franchise for the Seattle Mariners, and we'll see what they can do this year. I mean, they got starting rotation, obviously, with Luis Castillo at the trade deadline. That was a big piece. And then they have Robbie Ray as their number 2 option. And they got a pretty good lineup all throughout 1 through 9. So, I mean, I would not be surprised if, the dark horse team like the Seattle Mariners at least goes to the second round of the playoffs.
Well, I've got some audio issues here, guys, but I'm sure what Tyler had to say was great.
It was.
It was all about you, Chet.
The show.
It was all about you.
We've got college football coast to coast kicking off tomorrow. They'll be live streaming, and then on Tuesday night will be Southeast Sports Talk. So y'all can tune into that. We'll be sharing it on our Twitter page. We appreciate everybody jumping into our first live show. It was a fun one. We're going to start doing these more often. Maybe start doing them every week. We'll see. Especially with college football starting up. Next Sunday we've got college football kind of impeding with LSU playing Sunday night. We're all going to be watching that, so we may be doing the show on Monday. We'll have to see, but check us out at Twitter. If you're watching on Twitter, thanks for watching. You can hit us up at Sports Scramble 4. And send us any DMs or messages what you think. Make sure to leave us a review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and let us know what you thought of the broadcast. I'll be uploading the audio version on our normal day for Tuesday. So we appreciate everybody joining in. We hope you have a good week.